it's nothing new, but it's so good to see you. We do this every day, and I'm still so amazed by you. So hold me tight through the night. It's just us two, me and you. Oh, oh, I can't believe you love me. Oh, oh, I just feel so lucky. Oh, oh, still can't believe you love me. I hope it never ends. It's being more than friends, yeah. You know I'm here to stay every single day, yeah. So hold me tight through the night. It's just us two, me and you. Oh, oh, I can't believe you love me. Oh, oh, I just feel so lucky. Oh, oh, still can't believe you love me. Falling into your arms, dancing up in the stars. Oh, where I'd rather be than with you. Oh, I can't believe you love me. Oh, I just feel so lucky. Oh, still can't believe you love me. Oh, I can't believe you love me. Oh, I just feel so lucky. Oh, still can't believe you love me. Sing, won't you sing with me? Leave everything for me. Stay the night. Oh, miss your flight. Walk through the rain with me. Get soaked to the skin, feel free. Shut the world out. Let's hang out. Oh, I used to see in colors, now it's gray. Till I met you at the concert the other day. The whole room lit up with warm, sunny rays. Tonight we'll turn minutes into days. And nothing's gonna make me look away. Peel off a layer and breathe. Lift up your head and leave. Count the stars before you leave. won't say a word, just let you breathe. I won't make a sound, I won't slow you down. I knew we were on borrowed time, just a passing streak, nothing you would keep. I fell in too deep. And as far as at least how I remember, we were leaving in September, when red and gold paint the sky. And as far as though maybe I pretended, oh, I wish it never ended. I held on with all my might, still waiting on that last goodbye. See you standing by the door, watching the leaves as they fall once more. In the silence we made, I couldn't find the words to say. They linger in my mind. Oh, I wished you'd stay. Oh, I wished you'd stay. And as far as at least how I remember, we were leaving in September, when red and gold paint the sky. And as far as though maybe I pretended, oh, I wish it never ended. I held on with all my might, still waiting on the last goodbye. Last goodbye. Last goodbye. Last goodbye. And as far as at least how I remember, we were leaving in September, when red and gold paint the sky. And as far as though maybe I pretended, oh, I wish it never ended. I held on with all my might, still waiting on the last goodbye. Come to the water where you will find peace. Take a step into the river. Get down on your knees. Come to the mountain. Well, take it in the view. You will find the life is greater than you knew. When you go through the storm, I will hold you, keep you warm. When you stay in the night, I will shelter, I will fight, I will fight. You're broken and you're shattered at the point of no return. You pick up the pieces and you let the bridges burn. So come to the water, sailing with the breeze. Take a step into the river where you will find peace. When you go through the storm, I will hold you, keep you warm. When you stay in the night, I will shelter, I will fight. Oh yeah, I will fight. When you go through the storm, I will hold you, keep you warm. When you stay in the night, I will shelter, I will fight, I will fight. I will fight. So come to the water where you will find peace. Take a step into the river and get down on your that the path you are choosing only leads to where you want to go. Some people say you forgive and forget, but tell me, let me know what you feel inside. 'Cause you don't know me by name. You don't know Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll talk a cup of kindness yet for days of old lang syne. And here's a handknife, trusty friend, and here's a hand of thine. We'll talk a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne. We'll talk a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. Should